What is a life hack that seems fake, but is a true lifesaver? If you're having trouble staying awake in class, at a meeting, see how long you can keep one of your feet lifted slightly off the ground. Class in 2 hours and I haven't slept at all. Perfect timing. When my dad was young, he often had to drive late at night. He said he would drive while holding a $50 bill out the window in order to focus and stay awake. Money bag. If a man is in an accident, car, ladder fall, etc., and he gets an erection, don't move him. He has a spinal injury. As a paramedic, this is true. It's called a priapism and is associated with a mid to low back injury. Side note: unfortunately, it might be his last erection. During pollen season, rinse your hair before bed. Otherwise, you're just depositing pollen on your pillowcase every night and then rolling your face in it all night. And then multiply that by how many nights you use the same pillowcase. Rubbing vegetable oil, or any cooking oil, on your hands after you cut up jalapenos or other hot peppers. It gets rid of the awfulness that would normally be left on your hands from the peppers. I rub my hands with oil and then wash it off with dish soap. I can totally remove my contacts after doing this. It's crazy how well this works. That rubbing alcohol removes chewing gum. I'd go through a 20-layer deep marketing funnel to get to that tip because it really does work. Also, wow. Thank you for all of the awards, nice Redditors. I completely forgot I left this comment and came back and my notifications had blown up. True lifesaver. If you are ever attacked by a dog, push your forearm into the bite. This pries the jaws apart and prevents them from clamping down. If a dog is attacking you, the best thing you can do is offer your forearm, push as far back as possible, and then grab the dog by the scruff of its neck with your other hand to hold it. The dog is now functionally muzzled and you have control of its head. The sooner and harder you push into the bite, the less damage the bite will do. This works for cats too, especially when they have you in the death hug. When cats kill their prey, they sometimes use their front limbs to pull the prey towards their belly, and their back feet, claws to scratch and disembowel it. It's instinctual, but cats can be taught not to do it to humans. If you've ever seen someone try to give a cat a belly rub, only to be attacked, this instinct is part of it, as well as a defense against attackers. If a cat isn't trained to not attack your arm, or they are trained but end up locked on, the worst thing to do is pull your arm away like you'd naturally try to do. Prey animals will try to run, so that pulling motion on the cat's limbs mimic prey and the cat will pull you tighter to its stomach and bite harder. Instead, do this. 1. Push your arm in quickly towards the cat's jaws, like a quick pulse, sort of, not a slow steady pressure. This will both keep it from chomping down on you and startle it. 2. Use your other hand to push the cat's head back. Bonus points if you can cover their eyes. Suddenly your arm is no longer prey, but predator, and the goal is now, escape, instead of kill. 3. Make as high-pitched, yelp, as you can. Like the most embarrassingly loud squeak possible. This is especially important if you're training a cat or kitten, because that loud yelp is not only startling but indicates, this playtime is too rough, now, and you need to stop. Kittens naturally do this squeak when their play with siblings gets too rough, and the cat learns what level of force is okay for it. 4. After you're free, ignore the cat completely. Don't look at it, don't talk to it, nothing. Act as if it isn't there at all, the ultimate silent treatment. This reinforces that they were too rough and playtime is over. Ignore it for at least 5 minutes. The squeak and ignore can be used on kittens anytime they're rough, and as soon as they stop, give a command. My older cat knows, soft paws, or, hey, soft, as commands to retract her claws and be more gentle with me. Taught her as a kitten and it's a blessing. I work with kids with mental disabilities and this was one of the first things they taught us to do if a kid starts biting you. Push instead of pulling away. It's safer for both parties. Can say from experience though that it's really difficult to fight the urge to just yank your arm away. Yell at your vacuum cleaner to get your dogs to stop barking at it. I read that dogs look to their owners to see how they react to things. I sat on the floor and had my wife run into me with the vacuum. It worked so well that now the dog won't move out of the way, even for the robot vacuum. I've tried this. It worked great for the husky, but the Yorkie still tries to attack it. If your ring gets stuck on your finger, Windex will slide it right off. Worked at a jewelry store for 5+ years. Put Windex on anything. If you have the right of way, take it. It makes driving more predictable and therefore caused fewer accidents. Counting really slowly with the goal of reaching 150 is a decent way to fall asleep. If you have any thoughts during it, just let them play out, and if you forget what number you're on, just go from what you last remember. If you make any major movements, just start again. The goal is to force your brain into slowing down and not having any jerky motions or thoughts, and eventually reaching such a level of carelessness that you eventually fall asleep without realizing. Helped me quite a few times, especially with rain sounds. Hope it helps some of you too. All your kindling for a fire is wet and all you have is matches and snacks. Any corn chip will light into a ball of flames. If your car is overheating, turn your heat on full blast. When you turn the heat on in a car, it pulls heat from the engine into the cab, thus cooling the engine. I was taught this in driver's ed 23 years ago. When in high school my buddy's car would run really hot, I told him to turn the heat on. He wouldn't. I had to convince him it was true by saying I would pay for resulting damage if the temp didn't go down. It was the wintertime, and that heat was so dang hot we had to roll the windows down. But we watched his engine temp drop. I don't believe it's especially uncommon, but if no one ever told you, it would seem counterintuitive. Edit. This doesn't work on electric cars. Depending on your mechanical issue, it may not work at all. Makeup remover on deodorant stains. Vixela randomly brought it up while talking to chat on Twitch. My husband has a lot of t-shirts with white, stained armpits, so I gave it a shot. It worked. Shocked face. Edit. I should probably clarify that I used remover wipes, just a generic store brand pack of cleansing towelettes, on my husband's old antiperspirant stained t-shirts from his bachelor days. He switched to a non-staining deodorant a while back. There are a lot of other helpful hacks for this issue added in replies. I'll have to try denim or dryer sheets next time I find a stain to try it on. Smiley face. From the amazing book, The Gift of Fear, by Gavin DeBecker, a woman alone who needs assistance is actually far better off choosing someone and asking for help, as opposed to waiting for an unsolicited approach. The person you choose is nowhere near as likely to bring you hazard as is the person who chooses you. I've taught this to my children: if you're lost, find someone before someone finds you. I always tell them to find someone with a name badge on. Clean jewelry with dish soap, since other cleaning supplies might scratch it, like hand soap or anything that exfoliates, or chemically react with the metals. Usually that's harsh cleaning supplies, and dish soap is intended to clean glass and ceramic without scratching it, and silverware without reacting with the metal, etc. Run your wrists under cold water or rub an ice cube on your pulse points to cool down all over quickly when you get overheated. It seems obvious, but I didn't realize it until last summer working in a warehouse with no AC. Also something I learned in the army on extremely hot days on the range: if you need to cool yourself immediately, dunk your arms about halfway between your elbow and shoulder in ice water, probably will need a bucket or cooler, for about 20 to 30 seconds. Then lift your arms over your head straight up and you'll literally feel your body completely cool from top to bottom as it moves down. If you're working outside and it's very hot, just have it ready just in case. It's required by the army once it gets hot enough to have sheets in ice water to cool anyone that becomes a heat casualty, so it makes sense if you're out mowing your yard or doing work when it's hot. This thread is what our Life Pro Tips aspires to be. If you've written on a dry erase board, or any glossy surface, with a permanent marker, like a Sharpie, just draw over it with a dry erase marker and it will wipe right off. Being extra nice to strangers when you need help will get you really far, oftentimes further than you expect. Customer service especially. Use shaving cream as anti-fog. I used it on the inside of my motorcycle visor. Smear it on, let it dry, then rinse off and dry. It also works for bathroom mirrors. You can use it on a small spot so you can still see when you get out of the shower. Learn how to fall. Where to hit, How to disperse energy. It can really save you in uncertain situation. I see that you know your judo well. Write a list and cross shit off when you accomplish the teensiest thing. It builds momentum. I hesitantly submit squeegeeing yourself off before getting out of the shower. It's so simple I was dubious, but just use your hands to quickly wipe off excess water and bingo, you're not cold getting out. If you're in college, don't buy your textbooks until you actually need to use them. I've saved hundreds of dollars by not buying required textbooks that we never used. The cheapest, most effective, and safest insecticide against roaches, especially those huge, waterbug, roaches that we have in the South, is a spray bottle of mostly water with just a little liquid dish soap in it. Shake the bottle and get the water a little foamy, then spray the roaches. They will run, scrabble, and attempt to escape, of course, but they will die. The soap film suffocates them faster than any chemicals will. A friend told me about this, and I thought she was nuts, but I tried it and it works amazingly well. Plus it's very easy to clean up and safe around food, not that you want to spray soapy water on your food. Crayons are flammable and will provide about an hour of light as a candle if you lit the top. Nail polish remover gets permanent marker off skin. You know, in case someone draws a dick on your face. You start to cough while eating or drinking, essentially the went down the wrong pipe. Immediately lift both your arms up in the air and keep them held up for a few seconds. The act opens your airways and will allow you to catch your breath. Also helps food or drink travel downward. My mill taught us this and it's now second nature. Edit. Changed choke to cough. The Heimlich maneuver should be used if someone has food stuck. Put your onion in the freezer for 10 minutes before chopping it. It freezes the juices just enough to slow down the process of it turning into a gas, giving you a few minutes to chop the onion without tears. I learnt this tip from a kids' science show years ago and I haven't had to deal with onion tears since. So many people don't believe me, and then are genuinely surprised when it works. Use a wet knife to chop onions. It reduces tears if you have sensitive eyes. It really works. I could barely make it through chopping half an onion without needing multiple breaks before I tried this. Saw it on Life Pro Tips. Just keep the faucet running and dip your knife under periodically while chopping. I still get a little reaction, but nowhere near as bad. If you feel suicidal or depressed, don't focus on hope. It is enough to just stay curious. Curiosity has the power to keep you alive far longer than hope ever will. Curiosity leads to engaging work and this leads to opportunity. I was in a very dark, very bad place in early 2018 and all that was getting me through it was that I wanted to know how Game of Thrones ended. You can laugh at that, I do. If you've got a splinter below your skin surface, wrap a banana peel around it. Wet side against your skin. It will draw the splinter out most of the time. I don't know how but it frickin' works. Banana voodoo. Banana voodoo. Banadoo? Inside of a banana peel against a bug bite, mosquitoes and ants, at least, can help relieve the itching and pain like magic. I, too, ascribe to the banana voodoo. Eating candied ginger helps with nausea. Any ginger really, but candied ginger is much better tasting. Edit. Chronic nausea is a different animal and I hope those suffering with it get medical help. Ginger isn't a cure for all nausea, and lots of things can cause it, such as vertigo, which is an obnoxious thing to have and ginger won't help. I have that, and it's no fun. I use ginger for migraine nausea myself, which I also get. Sleep on big decisions. You think most clearly in the morning, and often after some time passes you realize you were about to make a big mistake. I swear my brain is completely different at night. I'm more creative, more bold, and more confident, so I'm really productive and good at stuff at night. But that also means that in the morning I'm often like, what was I thinking? I saw a comment on one of these kinda threads that recommended gently rocking back and forth while pooping. I've never had any problems in the bathroom, but I happened to be sitting on the toilet when I read the comment, so I decided to give it a test drive. I was pleasantly surprised at how quick and effortless the whole experience was, and I haven't gone back to my old stationary technique since. As a bonus, Number 1 and number 2 now require the same amount of time in the bathroom. 25% of 18 is the same as 18% of 25. Percentages are reversible and one is easier to figure out than the other one. Always carrying a $20 with you no matter where you go. So many times I've gone to get gas and find out my debit or credit card gets declined. Truly a lifesaver. If you have stains somewhere hard to bleach, like the top of a toilet bowl or a shower floor, put down paper towels first. It soaks up the bleach and keeps it in place while it does its job. This works like magic, seriously. Note: wear gloves when you remove the paper towels. The first time I tried this on a shower floor, I ended up with chemical burns on all my fingertips. Lighting spaghetti on fire to light candles, the big ones, instead of using paper. When putting a paint can lid back on the can, first put down a layer of cling film, saran wrap. This will stop the lid sticking to the can once the paint on the lid has dried.